Digital natives at the workplace. Are they a case for diversity management? To answer this question, it is important to understand what diversity management stands for. Diversity management refers to the organizational actions that aim to promote greater inclusion of employees from different backgrounds into an organization structure through specific policies and programs. Organizations are adopting diversity management strategies as a response to the growing diversity of the workforce around the world. The goal is to capture all benefits which can be achieved through workforce diversity, as this could lead to an enhanced organizational performance. There are two main characteristics for diversity management. Firstly, it consists of voluntary action. Diversity management is self-initiated by organizations with a workforce from different ethnicities, religions, nationalities, and demographics. Secondly, it provides intangible assets. Companies use the diversity strategy to tap into the potential of all employees and give the company a competitive advantage in its industry. A diverse workforce enables the organization to better serve clients from all over the world, since diverse employees can understand their needs better. Generation X was born between 1965 and 1979. They perceived high levels of stress and sacrifice through their parents and see it as reason for their family and health problems and all over stress. In general, they do not consider companies as trustworthy and are cynical with the hierarchical structures of their parents and employers. Generation X is less interested in performance-based salaries and prefers security in the forms of paid time off, fixed salaries, skill development opportunities, as well as saving plans. Individualism is a core value of this generation. It stands for their low affiliation with organizations, their high self-esteem, confidence, and self-reliance. Historically, this generation has a clear connection to the inclusion of different ethnicities. Generation Y comprises people born between 1979 and 1999. They are characterized by a trust in organizations and have a positive view towards hierarchical structures. Going through a lifelong learning process, they enjoy high levels of education and usually also have a higher level of self-esteem. Regarding their jobs, they follow the motto, "Don't live to work, but work to live," and do not necessarily require a social approval of what they are doing as long as they see purpose in their work. Besides, Generation Y values fun and quality time more. The influence of the internet and immediate access to virtually anything leads to a focus on short-term goals for this generation. Within the next few minutes, we will tell you some stories of X and Y, two employees of the Diversity Limited and their struggles during their everyday work. X is a 40-year-old engineer working for an e-commerce furniture company. Recently, one of his colleagues, Y, really bothers him. Y graduated from a college last year and joined the company recently. He is usually late for work and leaves the office early. However, the manager said nothing about it. X is annoyed about the situation. He complains a lot in front of other colleagues. What he does not know is that Y often works at home. To Y, the concept of work hours is already out of date, because work can be done anytime from any distance. On another day, X needs Y's data analysis to continue his work. However, until the end of the week, X doesn't receive anything from Y. X is angry because without the data he could not finish his work. He accuses Y for being irresponsible. Y is confused. He checked his phone and told X that he has not received any texts or calls from him regarding the analysis. X thinks that Y is not capable of working in teams because obviously he sent multiple emails, not texts. After all, phones are for personal use and he wants to keep work and personal life separated. Y feels annoyed. How hard could it be to send a quick text or maybe call him? This is basic logic to him because everyone checks his phone more frequently than his email. The conflict continues because the two generations apparently have different working styles. Recently, the e-commerce company starts to build up a partnership with a fast-growing furniture supplier. X needs to prepare a presentation about this company. He has struggles with different tasks. For example, the company did not have much published information on the internet, and several pictures he found are watermarked. Y walks by and sees that X is struggling with this task. Although they don't really like each other, Y offers to help X. He shows X the right tools to find company information and remove watermarks and solve the problem easily. X is confused how Y just did that. Shouldn't he be the experienced one who could solve Y's problems, not the other way around? After some days, the head of the department, Mr. Diversity, notices the tension between X and Y. Because he thinks that it is much better to have a friendly environment at work, he wants them to sort out their problems and seize the potential they have if they would work together and learn from one another. Because he wants to solve the problem immediately, he calls X and Y and asks them to have a talk with himself as a mediator. Since he knows that both older and younger people tend to be available over the phone more easily than via email or text, he calls them to arrange a meeting in person. Both agree. Arriving in the office, Mr. Diversity asks them to tell why they feel misunderstood and have a hard time working with one another. X starts by saying that he finds it unfair how he is always first and last at the office, and yet it does not seem to be appreciated. He works much more than Y, takes short breaks only, and does every task as soon as possible. Moreover, X is mad because he finds that Y hardly knows anything about the job. Y is way too young to be in the same position as X and has just recently started to work at Diversity Limited. He himself, on the other hand, has been working consistently and loyally at this company, knows every employee, every task, the industry, and so on. How can it be that Y can allow himself to take his work so lightly? Lastly, X notes, it takes ages to communicate with Y. He always has to write multiple emails and wait for hours for an answer, although they sometimes even work together on the same department. When Y is asked why he is upset, he tells his perspective. Firstly, X does not seem to understand that Y works a lot and usually until very late. Just because he doesn't sit in the office does not mean that he just relaxes at home. After all, the company already uses programs like Dropbox, which can be used anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. Secondly, he does not understand why X has issues with him working for this company in such a good position after a short amount of time. After all, he finishes his tasks, learns quickly, and usually solves problems in his own way. Y does not understand why X has so much to tell about having experience and loyalty. Next, he explains that he is annoyed for being spammed with emails. If X wants something important, he should give him a quick call or text. After all, Y feels like he's losing way too much time reading through piles and piles of emails every morning. Rather, he would just like to know what to do and then solve it in his own way. Many companies struggle with situations like the ones between X and Y. The culture clash of generations can lead to serious conflicts and jeopardize the company's performance. Managing such conflicts is crucial to ensure continuous workflow and positive office environment. To solve issues, the first steps for management is to grasp the needs and characteristics of the different generations. Once a person understands generational value systems at the individual level, a team can begin to share its value system. This is enabled by a skill set comprising knowledge transfer, inclusion, open communication, and trust. Knowledge transfer relates to the exchange of experience and learnings. Not only age determines knowledge. Distinct generations can share their different experiences and learn from each other equally well. Inclusion means to involve people that have rather distinct ways of problem solving. It includes the patience to understand others' thinking and values as well as appreciation of every team member's perspective. The communication style in the company should always be kept as open as possible. Management should formulate transparent decisions and policies as well as provide accurate feedback. The team has to be honest about their own problems and limitations. Hand in hand with an open communication goes trust. Mistrust lowers the productivity and can destroy entire teams. Further mistrust leads to even more mistrust, but luckily trust can be regained and trusting creates new trust. To us, there are different perspectives on whether conflicts that arise from Generation Y in the current workforce should be subject to diversity management. On the one hand, there's clearly some characteristics which tend to be normal for younger generations and can be handled through corporate procedures, whilst on the other hand, one must acknowledge that every person is different and maybe perceiving this as a generational conflict is not the right way to tackle this issue. Now we would like to hear your opinion. Do you think digital natives are a case for diversity management?